Saudi Arabia is a desert kingdom that receives only 4 inches of rain per year on average and with a 95% dry lands. But all its deserts turn into agricultural lands and they are start to grow, and they are even thinking of exporting agricultural products. Scientists are surprised by Saudi Arabia's remarkable achievements in cultivating circular fields in the desert that are now visible from space. In this video, we are going to see why and how Saudi Arabia is turning its desert into farmlands. Saudi Arabia has achieved remarkable agricultural development over the last 3 decades, despite its arid climate and scarce water resources. According to the Embassy of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the main agricultural products that Saudi Arabia exports are dates, dairy products, eggs, fish, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and flowers. These products are grown in various regions of the country, including some areas that have desert-like conditions. The desert of Saudi Arabia covers almost the entire Arabian Peninsula, with an area of about 2.3 million square kilometers. This is larger than the size of the countries such as Indonesia or Mexico. Historically, agriculture in the Arabian Peninsula was limited mostly to date farming and small-scale vegetable production in widely scattered oases. Serious agricultural development began in the 1970s, with the government implementing a massive program to promote modern farming technology and increases food security. The country has converted large areas of desert into agricultural fields using advanced technologies such as dams, wells, canal cisterns, and water diversion systems. The land under cultivation grew from under 1,600 square kilometers in 1976 to more than 32,000 square kilometers in 1993. As you can see in the picture, the climate of all countries is warming over time. There is also Saudi Arabia among the countries. What do you think? Which country was the hottest according to this picture? Let me know in the comments below. The population of Saudi Arabia is projected to grow from about 34 million in 2020 to over 14 million in 2030. This will increase the demand for the food and water, and put more pressure on the natural resources and the environment. Saudi Arabia is one of the largest importers of food in the world, as it produces only about 15% of its food needs. One of the main challenges of agriculture in Saudi Arabia is the scarcity of water. The country has been drilling for water for the past 3 decades, tapping into the hidden reserve of ancient aquifers that were formed in better times. However, these aquifers are not renewable and are being depleted at an alarming rate. If Saudi Arabia continues to use underground water at the current rate, it may face the following scenarios in the next 50 years. The non-renewable groundwater resources such as the fossil aquifers will be depleted or exhausted, leaving the country with no backup water supply. Or the renewable groundwater resources such as the shallow aquifers will be overexploited or contaminated, reducing the water quality and quantity. Therefore, the government is also investing in other sources of water such as desalination, wastewater treatment, and water conservation. Otherwise, the country may face a severe water crisis in the near future. Drilling for water 1 kilometer underground is based on an assumption that there are still deep pockets of water that have not been reached by shallower wells. However, this is a costly and risky process, as it requires advanced technology and equipment, and may encounter geological obstacle or contamination. Moreover, it may not be sustainable in the long term, as the water quality and quantity may decline over time. Therefore, some analysts suggest that Saudi Arabia should focus more on improving the efficiency and productivity of its existing water resources rather than drilling deeper. In this way, Saudi Arabia intends planting 10 billion trees in desert using native and adaptive species to increase the forest cover and combat desertification. Also, partnering with foreign companies to establish indoor vertical farm and greenhouses using advanced technologies such as aeroponics, hydroponics, and synthetic climate control to grow crops in controlled environments. Developing liquid natural clay and breathable sand, which are innovative solutions that enhance the water retention and fertility of the sandy soil, and enable the cultivation of various crops under the harsh desert conditions. Also, nuclear energy can help to desalinate salt water by providing heat and electricity for different desalination processes. Nuclear desalination has some advantage over using fossil fuels for desalination, such as reducing greenhouse gas emissions, enhancing energy security, and saving water and land resources. The rainfall and humidity ratio in Saudi Arabia is low, averaging 4 inches per year, and mostly occurs in the winter months. The humidity is also low, the climate is mostly dry and hot, the temperature reaching up to 50 degrees Celsius in some places. About this issue, Neil Speckman, a water engineer and permaculture designer who worked on the Al Bayza project in Saudi Arabia, which aimed to restore the degraded landscape and improve the livelihood of a local Bedouin community. One of his plans was to build dams, terraces, and ditches to divert floods and store water for agriculture and domestic use in the Tabuk region. The plan involves constructing a series of gabions in the main wadi to slow down and spread the water during flash floods. Also, building earthworks such as swales and terraces along the contour lines of the hillside to capture and filtrate the water into the soil. According to Speckman's reports, the swales captured about 9.75 million liters of water during a heavy rainfall event and increased the soil moisture and groundwater recharge. The gabions and terraces reduced erosion and sedimentation and created flat and fertilized space for planting. Overall, Speckman's plan was a success in terms of demonstrating the potential and feasibility of the regenerative water management and agriculture in the Saudi Arabia desert. But it also required continuous monitoring, evaluation, and adoption to overcome difficulties and uncertainties. Of course, it must be said that the cost of this is high, but not as much as one of the methods to combat desertification in Sahara. There was a project to install a lot of solar panels and generate electricity for the home of thousands of Africans. As well as to convert a lot of salt water into drinking water, it can cost around $20 trillion, so the probability of it being done is very low. If you have enjoyed this video so far, please subscribe and click the bell on the side to be notified of our new video. Among the current examples that are cultivating agricultural lands in the desert are the agricultural fields of Phase 1 and 2 in Saudi Arabia, which are part of the government's plan to increase the cultivated area and production of the strategic crops such as wheat, barley, corn, and alfalfa. Phase 1 launched in 2019 and covered about 500,000 hectares of land in different regions of the country. Phase 2 was launched in 2020 and aimed to add another 500,000 hectares of land by 2024. Also, Saudi Arabia has several projects and initiatives to reclaim and green desert lands. The National Parks Program, which aims to establish 100 protected national parks and plant 15 million trees within 5 years. We talked about everything, but what role does the most important source of Saudi Arabia play in this plan? Saudi Arabia's oil reserve and oil sales are the main source of income and economic development for the country. However, oil also poses some challenges and risks for Saudi Arabia's agriculture and water security. Oil production and consumption contribute to greenhouse gas emissions and climate change, which may affect the availability and quality of water and land resources. Therefore, Saudi Arabia is trying to use its oil wells to transform its desert into agricultural lands using innovative technologies and solutions. All this effort to improve the existing conditions, it can have greatly contributed to the Lion, 500 billion project of Saudi Arabia. But if they don't pay attention to some points, the project will fail. This video explains them. Don't miss it.